Hello. Welcome to Verbling. Hi there. I'm teacher Oakley. And for the next hour, we're going to look at how to write a recommendation letter. A little business English for you. Okay. Um, it's very common if you're looking for a job. Sometimes for admission into graduate school, there's a few different reasons that someone may need a letter of recommendation or a reference letter, a letter of reference from someone basically recommending them for some kind of position, whether that's a position in a job or a position as a graduate student or whatever. A letter of recommendation is a common area. It's a common business form that sooner or later, if you work at least in Western countries, sooner or later you're going to have to write a letter of recommendation. One thing that I have come across in my travels, working all over the world. Now, I'm not sure how it works in your country, but in America, if you need a letter of recommendation, you talk to your old boss, your old manager, professor, whomever, and you ask them to write the letter. So you, the professor or manager or whomever, will write the letter of recommendation. What I've come across is that in many countries, in fact, that's not how it works. In fact, you need a letter of recommendation, you write it, you submit it to them, and they sign it. Apparently, that's how it works in many Asian countries and Russia and Balkans and many, many places. It doesn't really work that way in America, but in any case, I have found that many people write their own recommendation letters and have their boss sign it. So I suppose it would be a good idea to know the proper way to write a recommendation letter, whether you're going to be a manager and have to write one, or whether you write your own and have your manager sign it. Seems like cheating to me, but hey, you know. Hello, Diego.
Hi, Oakley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Is good to pronounce it Oakley, or there's another way to express your name?
Oh, there's a lot of ways to express my name, and some of them are not very polite.
Okay.
But you're doing a great job. Oakley is, yeah, you've got it. That's great. Am I
Okay, thank you.
pronouncing your name correctly, Diego?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Diego, our class today, we're going to look at a template for writing a recommendation letter. We're going to look at an example, and then maybe we'll try to write our own. In Colombia, do people use letters of recommendation, reference letters?
okay, we usually use those kind of letters when you just go out or you work. You um, you have to write a recommendation letter of your last boss for the next job or for other jobs.
For,
So this is an important document for
okay,
us.
okay. So it is used. A letter of recommendation from your last boss. Okay, let me ask you this. If you need a letter of recommendation from your last boss, do you just ask them to write it, or do you write it and then give it to them to sign?
Maybe there's two ways. There's two ways. First, you can um, um, ask to my last boss uh, uh, for give me the recommendation letter, or maybe he he asked me that I write it and he signed it. He yeah,
Okay. Maybe he will ask me to
he will
write it,
ask me, yeah, he asked me to write it, and he
and
just wrote
then
it and signed it.
he will sign it. Okay. So future
Okay, and then
tense,
he will
he
sign
will ask me to write it, and then
it. And yeah,
he
yeah,
will sign it. Okay. So talking about a sequence of events in the future. Okay. Um,
yeah.
he will. Okay. Or the first option, you will ask him for. Ask for. We don't use the preposition to with ask. It's impossible in English. You cannot ask to somebody.
So it's better to say that you ask for anything.
That's right. It's impossible to say ask to. It's
Okay.
it's just impossible. So just remove
Yeah.
that from your English vocabulary. Um, okay. But okay,
Okay.
so it can work either way. That's interesting. I find it interesting how it worked because in America, you would never they would never say, "Oh, you write it and I'll sign it," or rarely. It happens, but rarely. Andre, hello, welcome. Andre, is your are you?
Hello,
Oh, there we
teacher.
go. There we go. All right, perfect.
Hi, teacher. I'm glad to see you, and I think it's the first class with you.
Yeah, I think so. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Andre? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? Yay, two for two. Um, where are you from, Andre?
I'm from Ukraine.
Ah,
From
very good. Uh, okay. I was just talking to Diego. In Ukraine, do you ask your former before your former boss for a recommendation letter, or do you write the letter and then give it to him to sign?
hmm, I I've never had that ex kind of experience before.
Okay.
I never did that. I I've changed a lot of work jobs, kind of jobs, but I never did that.
Okay.
Mm.
I have never done that.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to use present perfect verb tense. Have and then done. Have
Uh,
and the past participle. Okay. I have
yeah.
never jumped out of an airplane. Have never jumped. Okay. I have never eaten a monkey. Whoa. Okay. Have never have eaten. Because why? Because I'm not dead yet, and I may jump out of an airplane, and I may eat a monkey, and I may jump out of an airplane and eat a monkey at the same time. You just don't know. I'm not dead yet, so you should say I have never had that experience. Okay. Uh, Present perfect tense, have and the past participle. That shows what you're talking about is in the past, but it has a relationship to now. Okay. Okay. Um, all right. So that's not common practice. Okay. All right. Just in case, in most Western countries, European countries, and in America or Canada, Australia, it is common practice to, when you apply for a job, to give a cover letter or covering letter, a letter of introduction written by yourself to introduce yourself, as well as a resume or uh, you know a list of what your work
Like an
history.
introduction of your skills, maybe.
Well, a cover letter is an introduction of your skills, an introduction of yourself, really, an overall
Yeah.
introduction. And then your resume is basically your work experience, educational experience, etc. But you may also, and it's very actually, I don't know, Western thinking, it's very strong to have letters of recommendation from former employees, professors, or people with some kind of credentials, some kind of stature. I suppose if you had the president of your country write you a recommendation letter, then that would be pretty good, even though they may not have been your boss. Okay. Anyway, so in some countries you have to write them yourselves and have the boss sign them. If you ever try to get a job, Andre, for example, in an international company, you should have reference letters or letters of recommendation for sure. Absolutely. Okay, how do we go about writing one? I'm going to do a screen share here with you and show you a template of the basics, and then maybe we'll try writing our own. Okay, there are different parts. All right, first of all, you need a salutation. That's what that is called. That thing at the beginning of the letter where you write, "Dear Dr. Smothers," "Dear Ms. Miller," or whatever. Okay, always better to use the person's name if you know it. So if you know that you're applying to a company and you know that you're directly going to be talking to a certain manager or whomever, you should write their name. But very often, probably more often, you're writing a general recommendation letter. You start it with, "To whom it may concern." Quite formal, pretty much standard business English. Or simply don't include a salutation. Myself, I would much prefer to see "to whom it may concern." This is much more common, of course. The first paragraph will explain who you are. If you're writing the recommendation letter, you have to say, "I was the former manager of Diego at the ABC nuclear power plant in San Diego, California." Okay, who are you? Where do you know the person from? Okay, your connection to the person. That includes where, what, who knows, you may be applying to a huge multinational with headquarters in Brussels. Who knows? So you have to say where, when, and when. All right, I was the supervising manager for Diego, ABC nuclear power plant in San Diego, California, from 1998 until 2008. Boom, like that. Why you are qualified to write a letter? Okay, obviously, if you're the former manager or supervisor of that person, that is your qualification. Or perhaps the owner of the company or CEO, VP, that is enough of a qualification. Now, maybe if somebody's trying to get into graduate school, for example, you may need an additional sentence to spell out why you're writing this letter. Okay, for example, Andre, I understand that Andre is trying to get into the Berkeley Graduate School for Advanced Psychology. And as I have been his personal psychologist for 20 years, I am writing this letter of recommendation. Just kidding, Andre. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm joking, but all right, so there may be
Uh,
circumstances where you have to explain why you're qualified. If obviously if you're the supervisor of the person, then you don't need to explain that. Okay,
so,
so obviously the first paragraph is going to be quite short, maybe 2 sentences,
Yeah.
2 or 3.
mm,
Second
that
paragraph is going to contain specific information, which shows why they are qualified or what their capabilities are. Um, okay, uh, what this person can do. All right. Obviously, that's going to be have to be extremely specific to the situation. All right. Maybe paragraph 3. Uh, if you know, it always helps. By the way, whether you're talking about your letter recommendation, your cover letter, your resume, or even preparing for a job interview. Um, it always helps to tailor or to make your cover letter, resume, preparation for an interview specific to that job. Actually, it's a
Mm.
very key overlooked element. People tend to just make general cover letter, resume, recommendation letters and not target them to a specific position at a specific company. It's actually a
That,
big
that is
mistake.
that is happening, excuse me, teacher. That is
Yeah.
happening when you have to apply to a specific job with
Well,
specific skills.
well, of course, the tendency is you're going to use the shotgun effect, bam, and go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the
Okay.
widespread and give your resume to 8 different companies, but you give them the same resume. But actually, that's a mistake, really. You should try to target each company if you really want to get a job.
And I think it's too difficult to have a lot of resumes for applying to a lot of jobs.
Yes, you're right.
Maybe in
It's
my
much
case, I don't use it because
you're
I'm a civil engineer. I'm working for 14 years.
uh
And I have a general experience in all kind of designing buildings, for example. So to apply to a job, you just have to have a resume of all kind of buildings that you have,
right,
that you have to build or design.
right,
So this is the most important part of my experience in my case. Maybe in other kind of uh, uh, careers or employees, there's a different way to choose any kind of person for apply to a job.
sure. Um, I understand what you're saying. Your job is probably going to be judged on your previous work.
Okay, of my
Nevertheless,
general experience,
um,
yeah.
right. Mm. Nevertheless, I used to work in a very large, huge company, like 120,000 employees. I used to do recruiting. So I used to sit in an office and do 50 interviews a day. I used to look at 200 resumes every day. And when this obviously, if you can imagine, when you're doing that, if it's the same thing over and over again, it's just, yep, boring garbage. Yep, boring garbage.
Yeah.
Yep, boring garbage. You're not really paying much attention, to be honest. The first thing is the cover letter. I'm going to look at the cover letter. If the grammar and English in the cover letter is correct, I think, well, the person has a brain. Okay, they can write. That's huge. If it's basically correct, then I will take the time to look at the resume. Okay, so the cover letter leads to the resume. If the resume seems like, okay, they have relevant experience, great. Oh, look,
Mhm.
there's recommendation letters. Okay, if I think basically speaking, just my personal psychology, if the resumes, if the cover letter tells me this person has a brain, and the resume tells me, all right, this person has the basic qualifications, now I will decide if I'm calling them in for an interview.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
I'm telling you right now, if they have a letter of recommendation, that means I'm going to call them for an interview. If they do not, then I have to decide. It's I know that's very, very basic and probably unfair, but when you're processing, so much information and you only have so little time, you have to really make it simple. So if you're applying to a huge multinational company, for example, a recommendation letter will probably get you an interview, putting it
yeah,
extremely simply.
exactly. In my case, I work for a enterprise or a company of the energy sector called Wood Group.
Hmm.
Uh, is in Houston. His principal office is in Houston. I work in Colombia in other office. So when I applied to this job, I um, have to my resume and my recommendation letters on my last jobs, on my last maybe 3 jobs.
Uh-huh. Great. Well,
So
that's
in my
good.
case, it's very important the recommendation letters.
Absolutely, absolutely. I, I mean, it's a game and it's stupid, and I realize that, but basically the cover letter leads to the resume. The resume recommendation letters are insurance. Oh, okay. Halfway decent resume, got recommendations. That means we should talk to this person.
Yeah.
Really, in most
Mm.
Western companies, at least American companies, Canadian companies, the cover letter, the resume, the recommendations don't really mean anything. The real getting the job or not is dependent on your interview process in reality.
I
Uh,
didn't know that.
well, I'm just giving you the reality of the situation. That's
Okay.
where you get a job or not is your interview. Nobody hires you just because your resume. Um, and basically, many people hire you just because of your interview, not based on your
Okay.
resume at all. Uh, okay, so if you can target your recommendation letter, if you really, really want a specific position in a specific job, ask your former boss, find out who this recommendation letter is going to, and address it to Dr. Smothers or whoever, and actually tell the person writing the letter who it's for and exactly what position, what skills you need, and etc. Okay, so paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, basically, um,
You can join that.
why you can join together, possibly, that
Yeah.
is true, or you may want to separate it. There's different ways to do it, separate it by the person's past experience, and then the other one, their specific skill set, maybe, something like that. Uh, okay, or combine it into one paragraph, that's normal. All right, then you're going to want to summarize. I highly recommend this person, and I know that they will fit in any position, blah, 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 blah. I recommend them without reservations. Something similar to that. It's standard, it's boring, it's stupid, I know that, but it is very much expected. All right? It's like business etiquette. You just have to write this dumb, stupid sentence. Um, I know it's ridiculous, but it's expected. All right, just like writing sincerely. Why? You're not really sincere. You don't even know the person. How could you be sincere? It's just expected. That's all. In conclusion, all right, and you can write in conclusion. Um, you need to offer to provide more information. You need to say if you would like more information about Ken, please contact me.
Hello.
Hi, Ken.
Yes.
I was, how are you? I was using you as
Yes,
an
I'm
example.
fine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so in your conclusion of a recommendation letter, you're going to want to give your contact information and offer to be available for more information, which you might as well do anyway, because if the person needs to provide references, they're they're definitely going to include you uh, if you've written them a letter of recommendation. Interesting.
Okay.
Actually, this is interesting. I have to ask you guys something. All right. In the United States, for example, it is very normal procedure if you're interested in a person and you want really seriously thinking about hiring them, you will call their references or their letter of recommendation people. You will actually call them. You will actually talk to them. However, because I was a manager, I know I have to know the laws and the rules in the United States. I will tell you, in the United States, you are not allowed, when somebody calls you, you're not allowed to give a bad reference. That you could be sued in a court of law. If you say that person is lazy, I would never hire them. Well, guess what?
Okay.
In about 8 weeks, you're going to go to a court and they're going to sue you for $500,000 and your life is ruined. Your wife divorces you, you never see your children again, you just don't want to go there. You can't say it. All you can say in America is, I cannot give this person a reference. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If somebody says, I cannot give you a reference, that means they would not hire them. So
Okay.
you should not either. That's all you're allowed to say in the United States. You're not allowed to say this is a bad employee. Now, of course, the old boy network, okay, everybody knows everybody in the industry. We're all colleagues. You go to the same trade shows and stay at the same hotels and whatever. So everybody knows everybody. So in reality, you will tell each other what you really think because it's your friend. But by law, you're not allowed to give a bad recommendation. Strange but true. Of course, you're allowed to give a good recommendation. Andre.
Excuse me, teacher. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
that's why this is that that you say that is important, the interview. That's I think the first thing that is gonna happen without a reference. You just have an interview and you are more interested in that person. You just have a reference.
If you're okay, usually you do the interview first because that's going to eliminate
Yeah.
people. Because the thing is, calling people for reference takes a lot of time because people can't be reached, and it takes a lot of organization. Okay, I tried to call them at 2 o'clock, couldn't reach them. Called back at 4, couldn't reach them again. Have to call them tomorrow at 9. If you're doing this for 50 people, that's a lot of time just organizing reference calls. And so you tend to leave this to last after the interview. Because a lot of people get axed at the interview. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to waste my time talking to references.
Okay.
Okay. Andre,
Yes, teacher.
I want to ask you, do people actually use references in Ukraine? Do people actually call and check references? Call past employers? I'm sorry, employers.
Mm.
Do they do that? Is that common practice, I mean?
It's I'd wanna say it's uncommon practice, and
It is. Really?
it's yes, and in general, writing the recommendation is very unusual and rare thing. At least I never heard about that before in Ukraine. In other hands, it's usual things to write CV or resume. It's
Right.
it's better, but not for recommendation.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
just if you want to work at a big multinational company, um, this is good information to know then for you. On the other hand,
sorry, teacher. I do. I'd want to ask you:
uh-huh.
is it legal to write untrue or fake information in recommendation or?
Good question.
It
Good
depends
question.
of any situation.
Yeah. That's a great question. Okay, first of all, as far as English, it's on the other hand, not in the other hand. All right. But getting to your really good question, is it illegal? Well, it depends. It depends. If you're trying to get a job as a security agent in a bank and you write fake information, could be could be that definitely could be illegal. Um, but there are legal bases where you have to tell true information, particularly security, police, government jobs, most civil servant jobs, government jobs. If you write fake information, you are liable, meaning you are legally able to be prosecuted. You're liable for misinformation. Now, if you're applying to McDonald's and and you write some inaccurate information, obviously nothing's going to happen. If they find out that it is inaccurate information, you won't get the job. Pretty much that's it. So
Okay, I
it
understand. It
depends.
depends of kind of job.
Yeah.
And it depends of the skills that you have,
Yeah.
because you, for example, you write it a recommendation letter for a huge job with different skills, and you don't have it, and you put it on your recommendation, so you can probably have problems when you have the job, because
uh,
you don't have these skills.
if you get the job, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, big trouble.
True. Yeah. Ken, I'm curious. In Japan, do employers or
Mhm.
possible employers, do they check references? Is that common?
Check references to check the recommendation letter to
Check the
call the company.
recommendation letter, call the past employers of the person.
Yes, yeah, I searched there for, yeah, some companies it's case by case, but usually they don't check
Case by
such
case.
a, yeah, maybe if it is a special case they check deeply, but usually they don't check so much about it. And the company who wrote the recommendation letter, usually they say nice things because without that,
Wow.
there's no reason to recommend.
Right.
So they just
Well,
say
of course.
yeah, good work, good things about
Of course they're
the
gonna.
employees.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you see, in America, of course, you would probably call the recommendation letter person, but you would also call the past employees written on the employers. What is wrong with me? I keep employers written on the CV or resume. You would probably call them and, yeah, I want to ask about your past employee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very, I don't know. It can be funny, actually. I'm sorry, I just can't give that person a recommendation. Really? Okay. Uh, okay. Let's look at an example of a recommendation letter and what it should probably look like. To whom it may concern. All right. Standard greeting, salutation, it's called. I highly recommend Jane Doe as a candidate for employment. All right. Very boring, very standard, very normal, but very okay. This is a very standardized kind of letter, this letter of recommendation, honestly. Jane was employed by ABC Matchstick Company, whatever, as a position from, okay, so that, you know, where, position, when. All right, basic note on her responsibilities. Jane was responsible for office support. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, paragraph 1. That's about it. Now, notice in this example, okay, there is some flexibility. They're all not exactly the same. In this example, the second paragraph is talking about her skill set. She has excellent communication skills. In addition, notice the good use of discourse markers or signal words and signal phrases. This is good English. Pay attention to this all the time. Writing anything. In addition, also, as well, etc. Okay, here are our standardized recommendation. Extremely organized, yes. Reliable and computer literate. Okay. She can work independently. Okay, look at these phrases. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. You can put them in your own cover letter. You can see them in recommendations. These are, yeah. I know. Same old, same old. She is flexible. Does that, I wonder, is she physically flexible? Okay, anyway, okay. Willing to work on any project that is assigned to her. Okay. All right. La, la, la. Lots of nice adjectives here. Great for studying English. Kind of boring, but this is the reality.
Look, it's think it's looking looks unbelievable. It's excellent worker.
Yeah, okay.
Aris look
You're
like
right.
it looks like an excellent worker.
Well, you're
Like
absolutely right. You're absolutely correct.
like a 10 employee maybe.
The model employee.
Okay.
Yes.
Top of the
Model
month.
employee. The
Okay.
Barbie doll
Oh.
employee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, a template of an employee. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And telling you as a person who would literally look at 50 resumes every day and 50 cover letters, you see this over and over and over again. You would think that every human being on Earth is the perfect worker.
Yeah.
So you become a little cynical about what you see. Actually, this is a very good point. So if you see something different, if you see something that catches your eye, you see the same thing over and over again 48 or 49 times. If you see something different, it is definitely going to grab your attention, and it is definitely going to cause you to push the button and call that person for an interview. For example, if you really want to write a good recommendation letter, this is industry standard, what we're looking at here. This is very normal. But if you really want to help the person to get a job or get into graduate school or what have you, or you're writing your own recommendation letter, I'll tell you what, give me some specific examples of something you have done that is impressive. That will work on me every time. If I'm the one who's going to decide if you get an interview or not, if you can, I've seen excellent communication skills, organized, reliable, independent, blah, 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 team player, blah blah blah. I've seen all that crap 1,000 times. If you
Tons
can,
and tons.
tons and tons. Thank you, Andre. Very good. If you can
And
tell
maybe
me,
I think that is a huge letter recommendation in my country. This is too short. That kind of letters is short.
really? Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay. If you can tell me that Jane had $1 million in sales from calendar year 1998 to 1999, that's a lot more impressive than seeing that Jane is extremely
Okay,
organized.
really impressive.
Yeah, really impressive in that, in that case. Um, hello, Nader. Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you. I was just on a roll. Nader, nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, maybe he stepped out. Okay, so anyway, this is basically industry standard. If you want to write an impressive reference letter, give me a specific example. Okay, Jane initiated a project which increased efficiency on the production floor and saved the company 3% annually in production costs. Okay, that's specific
Okay.
information. It's going to grab my attention. I'm going to call you. I mean, let's just make it simple. Okay, now this last part. All right, Jane would be a tremendous asset. Asset. I'm sorry.
You
For
have
your
to finish
company.
the sentence.
I'm sorry about that. Mispronunciation. Okay, a tremendous asset for your company as my highest recommendation. All right, I'm sorry, but you do have to do this. You have to give this standardized kind of sentence. It is just expected. It is just business etiquette. And you have to offer to be contactable somehow if you have any further questions with regard to her background or qualifications. Please do not hesitate to call me. Okay, sincerely, standard closing. Your name, you should have your title, what company, and, well, bad example here. And usually this is where you would put your contact information, such as your phone number or email address. Should be actually here after this. All right, well that's it. It's fairly simple. It doesn't have to be too long. This is where if you have, it would be great if you really want to write a good recommendation letter to have specific examples, maybe another paragraph in here. That's where we looked at the template. There was 2 paragraphs. Maybe I would have one with general stuff like this and one with much more specific information, and that would be much better. Okay, let's try writing our own. Dun, dun, dun. Pop quiz, pop quiz. Diego, how do we start out?
Okay, with the same introduction that the last letter, or any kind.
Well, any letter. Let's remember. Let's
Any letter.
write a letter for Bart Simpson. We're going to recommend Bart Simpson. First of all, also I want to add that you're going to write the date. Probably top left. Okay. And then down. And then you start out the letter with Diego. Salutation.
Okay, maybe I just start to whom it may concern.
Thank you. You got it.
I recommend Bart Simpson as a candidate for.
Okay. He's off and rolling, ladies and gentlemen.
Recommend for the job. He worked for me. How a personal assistant to maybe I just said for the last year, maybe.
Come again. He worked for me.
He worked for me as a assistant, as a personal assistant the last year.
good, and thank you very much, Diego. But let's clean this up a little bit. All right. Beginning
Okay.
is great. I recommend. Okay. Can you give me an adverb to strengthen this statement? Andre, can you give me an adverb? I what recommend? An adverb.
Strongly.
Oh, that is perfect. You like read my mind. Whoops, strongly.
Strongly? Okay.
All right. That is a great collocation, Andre.
Strongly recommend.
Strongly recommend Bart Simpson. Okay, you would not say for the job, because you may not know what job it is. If you do know the job, then you would actually say, okay, for the position of whatever, lead rocket scientist.
Rocket science.
Okay, you just say the specific job.
NASA, in the NASA Mars mission. Okay, Bart. Okay, so you would say the specific job if you know it, but if you don't, if you have no idea, and you're just writing a general letter of recommendation, then you can do something like this. Any position, I strongly recommend Bart Simpson for any position in your company. Okay?
Okay.
If you're asked to write a recommendation in a very general way, then of course you have to do that. All right. He worked for me as a personal assistant. Okay, you have to say what your relationship is. He worked for me. That's great. Good job, Diego. What he did, personal assistance, terrific. And when. And where. He worked for me as a personal assistant.
For the last year, maybe.
At McDonald's.
For a specific date.
You have to say where specifically. At McDonald's. Okay. And then try to be more. Yes, Diego or Andre. I'm not sure who said that, but you're exactly correct. You have to be a little more specific with the dates.
Yeah.
And please use the preposition for.
For, yeah.
Okay, for the last year. All right. Probably you want to be more specific. In which case you would say something like from April 2002 to May.
I don't know, November.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Something like that. From to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that's basically all we need for paragraph 1. Let's go to paragraph 2. Ken.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is a paragraph where we're going to start talking about why this person should be hired.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's try this. Let's try some general statements about the person, their personality, or what qualities.
Bart has excellent communication skill.
Ay caramba.
Skills.
Skills. Okay. Yes. I'm with you.
And he can deal with a lot different situations.
Okay, that's very good. Ken, what is a small problem here?
A lot of.
A lot of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. The of. Okay, wonderful.
Also,
Oh,
He
you want to
has,
continue? Okay.
yeah. Also, he has, I want to say the computer literacy. He has the he has a good computer literate. He has computer literate, good computer literate. Is it English?
Okay. Is it English? Not exactly. No. Instead of has,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, look. If you're going to use has, he has computer literacy.
Computer literacy. Yes.
Okay. Also,
Literacy.
all right. But we don't really normally do that.
Mm.
It seems it's perfectly correct grammatically. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that as a sentence. It's just more normal to say he is computer literate.
Computer literate. Okay.
Okay. Also, he's computer literate.
Mhm.
And oh, here's because I just feel like it. Well acquainted with all, sure, Microsoft Office software.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Except I misspelled acquainted. Really? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So, oh, okay. I added a little. I took liberties.
Mhm.
Very good. Okay, we have some general la la la. Nader, are you there? Nope. Andre,
Yes, I'm here.
great. Let's talk about something wonderful that Bart has done at our company. Oh, he's writing. Okay. All right, I got it. Hey there. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. I see. Okay. Wait. Nader has written something here, so I'm gonna see if I can stick this on up here.
Bart.
Oops. Simpson. I like that you just call him Simpson. Okay, let me add this on here. Simpson also was a very okay. Let me first of all critique you by when we have the verb to be. All right, the adverb usually comes after. Okay. Uh, okay, we were always killing sheep. We never killed sheep. We sometimes killed sheep. We frequently killed sheep. You notice that I'm killing a lot of sheep, and you also notice that the adverb comes in front of the verb. When you have the verb to be, the adverb comes after. We were frequently killing sheep. We were often killing sheep. We were sometimes killing sheep. You see my point there? The
Yeah,
adverb
yeah.
will come after the verb to be. Well, Nader, many of us have problems with placement of adverbs. You're lucky if that's one of your only problems. You know, some of us have it much harder. Okay. If not the most important member of our SEALs team. Oh, I like that. This is very nice, if not the most. Okay. Now this is okay. This extra information enclosed by commas. That's great. His great skills really helped our company when the sales was nosediving. The sales were. Thank you. Were nosediving. Okay. All right. We've got
Were.
our
Yeah.
yeah. We've got our shiny. Okay. You know, again, Bart is a model employee. Okay, since we only have a few minutes, let's just call that a day. Okay, again, it's always great to give specific information. Andre, we got to bring this to a close.
Bring
Okay, help me close it. Yeah, let's give our summary, our closing.
summary.
Okay, if you remember, we have to say, well, there may be a summary paragraph, or and the conclusion, or you may combine the summary and conclusion. In fact, it is very common to say, in conclusion, or to summarize. All right, so I'm going to help you out. In conclusion, Andre, what can I say?
Um, in conclusion, I'd wanna say that the Bart isn't really an perfect employee.
Andre. Okay, I'm going to say that Bart is a perfect employee.
Isn't a perfect employee.
Yeah, but I'm the one typing. Okay.
Since he's frequently late for job to get a job.
Okay, wait. Since he frequently.
uh, late to work to job.
Okay, you have to say is late. Late is an adjective, so we need a verb. We need a verb. Is late.
Late.
No, late is not a verb. We can't. So it has no past tense. You can't say he lated. We have to say
Or
he
get
was
late,
late.
maybe.
He was late.
Sorry, Diego. What was your suggestion?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe is get late to the job.
Get late.
No. Somebody gets late. He gets late. No.
He gets late now.
We just use the verb to be. He is late. He was late. He will be late. He's going to be late. Whatever. It's, basically, the verb to be is used co-located with late.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one thing that we do. Okay, he's always late. This use of always really emphasizes the fact. Okay, and it's a pretty standard way to really emphasize the information. In conclusion, I want to say that Bart isn't a perfect employee since he's always late. Okay.
And if you wanna be in trouble,
Okay.
you should employ
Okay.
you should accept his appliance for job.
Okay. You should employ is correct. That is a verb, and that was very good. You should employ him. You should accept his application, but that isn't quite correct. We wouldn't really use that. You should employ him. Because an application, you can have an application to get cable TV, all right? So they accept my application to put cable TV in my house. If you accept an application, it's not, we don't say that for a job. You should employ this clown. Okay, all right. Okay, that's lovely, Andre. Can we use from here? I'm not sure. Not sure, Nadir. I'm not sure what your question was. Termination from our company. This has nothing to do with the reason of his termination from our company. Okay, well, actually, before we go, let me quickly tell you if you're terminated, you're fired, and that is very negative, and no one's going to hire somebody who was terminated or fired. If you're fired, that means you were forced to leave because you did something wrong or terminated. It's just a more formal way to say fired. If you're laid off or let go, then you were because of lack of business or some other reasons that they had to no longer employ you. Okay, that's fine. So obviously, you would not use terminated or fired in any of your recommendation cover letters, resume. Never, never, never use those words. Or heaven forbid, your job interview. Do not use these words. Remove them from your lexicon before you have a job interview. Very, very negative. Extremely negative. Okay. Anyway. I hope you learned one or two things about English, one or two things about getting a job, and I thank you, each and every one of you, for joining me, and I hope I'll see you again soon.
Okay, thank you. It was an interesting topic about.
Thanks, Diego. Thank you, Nader. Andre, really a pleasure meeting you. And Ken.
Thank you, teacher. You have a understandable pronunciation for me.
Well, thank you. I practice every day. And you should too.
Really sure that you practice.
All right, bye guys. You guys take care.
Bye.